Hello, Mr. Yogesh. Background about Yogesh. Yogesh is the founder director of Aryo Dhatu partner at SR Metals, director at Vajrayog Industries. He is based in industrial hub of the Shambhaji Nagar. But despite of all this, what makes Yogesh, you know, stand out is his, academic rigor, and he's currently doing executive MBA at IIT Bombay and parallelly doing PhD in psychology. Okay, so there's a very unique mix of skills and background. With that, welcome Yogesh one more time. We are happy to have
Thank
you
you.
on the
Thank you,
show.
Pradeep.
It's very fascinating, right? You started as a LIC advisor, which
Yes.
makes you connect with people, build the
Mhm.
trust, focus on the individuals. I think that did that had an impact on choosing psychology as your academics.
Well, not entirely, but to some extent it would be because that was not the guiding thought behind me choosing psychology as a subject. So
Hmm.
there were, during the early upbringing, I learned that trust is earned and it can't be appointed. So for me, working with LIC as an insurance advisor, it became a part of a long-term relationship building exercise very later on. Also, the human signals matter, right?
Hmm.
When a client or a team member needs assurance, that is where you catch on where to pick up the small cues like the tone, the hesitation, the body language.
Hmm.
So the guiding thought was not that I want to work with people, but then yes, the nature of the job was such that I was always amongst people.
Yeah, I think that set up a very good foundation for you later on, right?
Yes, it did. It did.
So, it's very interesting, right? Once you start as a LSA advisor and you move to the high stakes roles, okay, with the metal manufacturing and recycling, how this transition happened?
Well, the transition was very organic as I could see. So I was preparing to be an officer in the armed forces. Right after my 12, got selected to this institute called Services Preparatory Institute here in Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar. Back then it was called as Aurangabad. So I was selected to SPI Aurangabad and my preparation, the formative preparation to get selected to NDA and later on to IMA and OTA to join as officers in the army had started. So that I believe laid a foundation of discipline, rigor, and the what we called as an officer-like qualities. So to naturally be among people, uh, to think in a perspective where you'll always be constantly among people, and as officers, we will be managing people, right? Managing men and material is also was also a part of the job that we were always made to think on those lines. But since as fate had it, I did my due diligence. I did what all I could do, but yes, fate did had other plans for me, and
Hmm.
naturally, I was channelized to join my dad in his factory. So I joined in 2016
Hmm.
as a floor supervisor,
Okay.
and from there on, because life doesn't stop, everything moves forward. So it was the natural course for me to again move forward and not, you know, stay stuck somewhere.
Yeah. So, it's such a coincidence, right? We are recording this on the Republic Day with your passion into the armed forces. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And now let's discuss a little bit more about your journey, starting as a floor supervisor,
Mhm.
now going heading the company as a partner. Okay. And also investing in new organizations, right?
Right,
So
right.
how was this journey? Okay. Where what was the time when you realized the pivot you took to come from, let's say, advisor, passion towards armed forces, and then joining the your dad's organization as a floor
Mhm,
supervisor? And
mhm.
at what point you realized that this is the right path to move forward and not regretting the past choices?
So I would very much like to say that I read something, I heard something, or I saw someone, or got inspired and motivated. But to be very honest to myself right now here, it was all life choices, right? Things that I wanted didn't manifest. I moved on to the next best thing. Again,
Mm-hmm.
that didn't manifest. I moved on to the next best thing. And it is this moving on to the next best thing, right? Not getting stuck to a particular thing that has kept me going forward. So the
Mm.
transition from being an LIC advisor again happened because when I started with LIC as an advisor, it's actually a very funny precedence to that. That my dad worked with LIC for almost 18 years, 20 years,
Mhm.
and he had this volition of gratitude that he wants to give something back to LIC. And then he made me take up the exam, and he
Mhm.
also made sure that I passed the exam. Well, by making me study day and night,
Okay.
which then I cleared, and I joined LIC as an advisor. But in the hindsight, I think that was the best decision that life could have taken for me, either through the medium of my dad and my parents and my family. That I was amongst people, right? From the early morning meetings with fellow advisors, meetings with the development officer, going and meeting my clients, helping them out in their discussions, in formulating the policy proposals that they want to pitch to their clients. But also simultaneously, I was making sure that I am, not divested from my aim, from my objective to become an officer. So I also kept on preparing, and as and when the opportunity used to come, well, when you clear the examination, you get an opportunity to attend the services selection board interviews.
Right.
So I attended service. I also kept on preparing for the SSB interviews and attending those. But then there came a point, like life, as I'm constantly saying, life moves on. There came a point where I was ineligible to apply for any more attempts. And that's where there was the natural cause that happened. Ki, yes, you come and
Yeah,
join.
life took its
Yes, life took its turn.
currently you're currently juggling multiple things at the same time, right? Attending the MBA, pursuing the PhD, and running the businesses at same time. Okay, so there's an incredible amount of parallel tasking you are doing, right? So how do you manage the cognitive load and parallel tasking you are doing? Okay, how do you manage your time?
So yes, the stress is clearly evident. Everything is completely disassociated with each other thing. So my factory is absolutely not associated anywhere to my research work. But then there is this executive MBA that we are pursuing together has an impact, if not direct, or over the both the things that I am doing. So
Hmm.
to answer your question, how do I manage the cognitive load? So I keep myself grounded, and I do that by practicing Vipassana meditation, right? So whenever I feel that I am getting overwhelmed or I am not able to compartmentalize one thing from the other, simply hold myself back, take a step back,
You are
focus on
doing
my breath.
the dopamine detaxation.
Probably if that's what's happened by doing this, then yes, I do dopamine detox. So I take a step back and then focus on my breath, and I practice Vipassana when and where possible at a
Hmm.
convenient place, and that's how I am able to recoup myself and focus my attention to the thing at hand.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a wonderful insight. That's something we all can also learn from you. Yeah. So let's move on. See, now we are in 2026, and
Uh-huh.
Industry 4.0 has already evolved very much
Uh-huh.
in
Uh-huh.
majority of the sectors already. Okay,
Yes.
so being a player in metal manufacturing,
Uh-huh.
industry, what do you think Industry 4.0 is to you? Okay, what is Industry
Uh-huh.
4.0 is to you
It's a
actually?
very lovely question that everything can mean different things for different people. So Industry 4.0 for me is the next level of evolution for me in my industry. Industry 4.0 enables me to achieve a certain level of, it provides me a platform to achieve a certain level of excellence, to achieve certain level of standard that previously we didn't had. So in manufacturing, particularly in the metal manufacturing where I come, we are situated far more towards the upstream, right?
Mhm.
We are like the feeders to the downstream. So the standards for us are not very clearly defined.
Mm.
Industry 4.0 is like a boon to us, wherein all the processes will be IoT connected to ensure appropriate timely measurements. Measurements give you the ability to develop insights because when you're measuring something,
Yep,
you're also at the same time simultaneously evaluating that particular thing, right? So what you're measuring is also getting evaluated. It's also getting categorized. And
right.
then it becomes absolutely easy to derive insights in your process to derive insights in your on your decisions. So for me, Industry 4.0 is going to have an impact on my decision making abilities,
Hmm.
the way I set up the standard processes. And then again, it will trickle down to customer satisfaction, on-time deliveries, meeting the customer standards, and
Hmm.
also, it will give me an opportunity to come at par with the present industries. To with the loads of standards out there, Industry 4.0 is going to give me a platform to be at
Hmm.
par with other people, with the other players in my industry. That's how I see to it.
Yeah, so let me ask this. The moment we say Industry 4.0, the first thing that comes to mind is always obviously IoT and
Yes.
AI. Okay, so now before we jump to the second part, AI, let me focus on the IoT. How you are modernizing your current factory, to move it into Industry 4.0 market. And
Yes.
let me add one more thing to it. How are you upskilling your existing staff so that they understand the new technology and they are not left behind?
The implementation of IoT is one part of Industry 4.0. It is one of the factors of Industry 4.0. So there are always three things. One is the hardware, the other is the software, and one is the interface.
Hmm.
So in my factory, for me to be Industry 4.0 compliant, we have made sure that we have all the right and appropriate sensors in place and also the appropriate interfaces for those sensors to have the measurements. So, for example, if there is a furnace, so there are different kinds of furnaces, but the setup to measure some key factors of that furnace always remain the same. Temperature remains the same. The furnace is run by some fuel. It can be gas, it can be oil, it can be coal, or it can be electric. So the flow, the measurement of the flow of that particular fuel stays the same. And then there is this operation of that particular furnace that takes place, opening the hatch, closing the hatch, charging the furnace with raw material, discharging the furnace, that means pouring the molten material. So we have sensors in place to collect the data points, which gives us
Hmm.
an insight if we are meeting the standard of that particular process.
Okay.
So that is
So
how
earlier
industry.
it is all manual driven, someone taking the readings and
It was
no,
manual. It was
yeah,
manual that somebody used to go there with a temperature gun, used to measure temperature. But then the frequency of that measurement used to vary, right? Because it's
right.
human intervention. Now,
Yeah.
because of the sensors and the right interfaces in place, the flow has been very consistent for the measurements.
Okay. So in a way, it helped you achieve more efficiency and reduce wastages, I think.
Yes, going down the line, it is enabling me to reduce wastages. It does. Yes. So if I'm saving something, saving some fuel, if I'm saving some man hours, that naturally boils down to savings, entire
Yeah.
savings. Yes.
So, when let's talk about the people part. Okay.
Hmm.
How are you upskilling the floor workers or factory teams to understand this new technology rather than seeing the new technology as replacing them?
Well, me answer the elephant in the room. This new technology will never replace human beings. It might replace the work that they do,
Hmm.
yes, but
Yeah.
it can never stop people from upskilling and ensuring that this technology becomes a tool rather a replacement to them.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, it is like a humongous task and a constant trial and error method, and also a somewhat an ongoing research thing at my factory, in my unit, because the labor force that I employ is largely unorganized. Apart from my office, majority of the labor force is unorganized and
Right.
also literate but not educated. So they can read and write. But when we talk about formal education,
Hmm.
somebody is only studied up to their 10th grade, somebody's only 12th grade. Very few of them are diploma holders, but then naturally, since they, as per their standard, they have studied a lot, they naturally want to switch over to the admin and management side and not on the shop floor side.
Right.
So for everybody, we always have to ensure that we are putting them at the right places
Right. Yep.
and making sure that they get trained in the right thing. I can't expect my furnace operator to go in the lab and do the measurements, so that
Yeah.
will be very unfair on his part, right? And also very unwise on my part to do that. But
Yes.
we are making sure that at least they know the sensors wherever they are
Hmm.
put in place. They
Yeah.
have been trained to ensure the appropriate working of the sensors, and also some amount of information, some level of information and skill so that they are able to maintain and manage the sensors then and there.
Mhm.
So, and also for the office staff, there are periodic, fortnightly, monthly meetings and small sessions that I and my brother conduct to, make them aware and not experts. It'll take some time, but at least they should know the interface that we are working with to read the sensor data,
Right.
to come to some inferences based on that. So
Mhm.
it's an always ongoing process. The innovation
Yeah.
is always there. So
Yeah,
how do
yeah,
we teach
that's
them?
right.
How do we tell them?
Upskilling never ends.
Yes, it never ends.
Okay. So let's move on to the application of AI. Okay. How you are using AI for your sector, and is there any exciting thing you have experimented with AI these
Yes.
days?
Yes. So I was very fortunate the day when you told me that you don't need me to develop an app. And that was the most striking thing. I still remember we were in that
Yeah.
November module, and I came to you and I said, Ki, Pradeep, I need your help in developing something. And you are very spot on to say, Ki, you don't need me to develop anything. I'll give you the right tools and you can develop them yourselves. And that was like a eureka moment for me in my life. And another thing that, reinforced at that moment was dreams do come true. Very
Mm.
early in my life, I dreamed to join IIT. I never knew that
Yeah.
I'll join in this capacity. Very early on in my life, I had the dream to become a software engineer before life took on for my decisions. Yeah, very, very proudly, I can
Psycho
say I am.
direct.
So, a small clarification on my part. I am an accidental psychologist. I never intended myself to be or learn or read psychology. But then, yes, I wanted to be a software developer because early on, very early in my life, I used to see my friends, talking about software and people in my family, some very great examples to me back then that they are working in software industry, software field. It was
Mm.
very fascinating to me. And
Yeah.
now, thanks to you, that I can say that I am what do you call a so-called software developer. I still remember what you said to me was vibe coding. I mean, now, I'm a vibe coder.
That's right.
So with the tools that you gave me, I was able to make a sort of dashboard for integrating in the entire data in one single place for the founders or, for me to take decisions on the right time.
Yeah, I think
It is,
the fundamental thing is, the ability to think through problem and formulate the solution. Okay, don't worry about whether it's software, hardware. Once you have that ability, we have tools to help achieve those
right,
solutions, or
right.
achieve those dreams. I think that's why you are a natural problem solver. Okay, and that is making you to say proudly that I am a software developer too. Okay.
In a very non-threatening, non-harming way. I know I'm not a software developer.
Uh,
Right, right.
yeah, see, if the qualification is to develop a software, to call you a software developer, yes, you are. Okay.
Well, that's a very lovely validation to have.
Okay, so tell me, how was your experience doing that vibe coding, and how you're realizing the benefits from it?
So for me, it was a very revolutionary thing that you can by yourself develop something that you can only see and use what others are making for you. You can have control over what you make. It absolutely was a revolutionary thing for me. So I can make something that is tailored to me. This is going to have a lot of impact. At this moment, I'm not able to visualize the impact that it'll have. But if one realizes that I can make something for my own and use it
Mhm.
without needing someone, well, help is of course needed, but not needing the validation of that idea that this will work or this will not work. Currently
Fraction of
validated.
cost at a fraction of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so cost is another aspect that, I'll touch upon in a couple of seconds. So you don't need someone else to validate your idea. You can validate your ideas yourself and right there on the go. If it's not working, jump to the next best thing. Again, if this is
Right.
not working, you jump to the next best thing. So
Yeah.
this ability of not getting bogged down by others' choices,
Mm.
by others, opinions.
Right.
If somebody says this is right and this is not right, and you feel otherwise, but you probably not able to put your point there at that moment. So this particular thing, vibe coding, gives one individual immense control over
Mm.
their ideas, over their thoughts, and to test them out in the real world right
Mm.
then and there on the
Yeah.
spot, spontaneously. Again, the cost factor is not totally eliminated.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh, yeah, but it is drastically reduced. You don't be on the mercy of the other person's quote.
Hmm.
You're not at the mercy of other person asking price, or saying that this will cost this much and this will cost that much. That
Yeah,
is
you better
eliminated.
bargaining position now.
If you're doing something for yourself and using it, there's no need to bargain. So,
But from the industry 4.0, I would term this vibe coding and a revolution, especially in the software development, as a rapid prototyping, right?
yes,
So in a way, it helps you to develop your prototype much faster,
it does.
much
It does.
but when you want to productionize it, maybe make money out of it by selling or licensing it, maybe you need some
That's a
additional help.
very
Yeah.
different scenario.
Mm.
So I am coming from a place where I'll be using it for myself.
Right.
And if it's just giving me the ability to satisfy my requirements at that moment, I'm more than happy. I'm simply glad and I'll keep on using it.
Right.
But it also gives me the ability to keep on iterating it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it gives me the ability to keep on adding features, or,
Mm.
removing features that, become obsolete by the day. But when it comes to commercial purposes, I believe there's a long way to go ahead,
Yeah, that's right.
right? And it doesn't make you a software developer over the night.
Maybe we can change your title as hobbyist software developer.
Hobbyist, yeah, absolutely. I'm a hobbyist. So right after I discovered that ability for myself, I have been into a plethora of things. I've been into so many things that I have, it's like a toy.
Yeah, new
Right thing
toy
to
to
say.
play with. Yeah, that's the right
Yes.
way to put it. Yeah. So, before we jump to the next segment, let me ask one more thing. So, you developed this software that meets your personal requirements, especially from the manufacturing segment and recycling segment, right? How confident are you that the tool you develop is giving the right answers? How are you validating it?
Right. So there are industry standards established. If whatever that I'm measuring is satisfying the industry standards, then it is safe to say that I'm doing the right thing. Whatever that I'm measuring is not meeting the industry standards of the particular product or the process, then I need to improve. I need to change something. So it was a learning curve, a steep learning curve for me to include some features that measure the right thing
Mm,
at the right time and for the right place. So if I am measuring the effectiveness of a batch of a molten material, I have to ensure that on the software side, I have to ensure that I am putting the, right things to measure at the right time. So, the time of charging, the time of
mm,
melting. So there are processes like degassing. There are
mhm.
processes where you remove the sludge
Yeah.
from the molten metal, and then there is the pouring time. So right placeholders have to be included in software that you are measuring the right thing. Again, so like I said, AI will never replace human beings because AI doesn't know what is standard.
Right.
It only knows what we tell it as standard.
Yeah, I think in your case, it's a golden intersection of SME and the software developer together.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I would like to think
Okay.
so. Yes.
Because that's the big challenge when it comes to some of the applications we do for Industry 4.0, right? It's not regular software development like developing an e-commerce website or things like
Mm,
that. You need SME knowledge also. You need to know what is the industry need.
need some subject matter
Yeah.
expertise. Yes, yes.
Yes.
You need to know what you're doing and what will happen if you do that particular thing.
Yeah, I think you're at the
That's
golden intersection of it.
the thing.
Yeah. Moving on, how do you visualize integrating or interfacing these models with the IoT solutions you already have in your factory? Because that's
Well,
the real
uh,
value benefit you will get from the Industry 4.0 in the long run, right?
so there are three things that I hope to achieve by pursuing or in the pursuit of, these integrations. First thing is it will give me the ability to make decisions.
Right.
It is a very big thing for me. So volatility has increased many folds. Exposure has increased many folds. When I started working in 2016, I still remember we had handful of clients, and there was some stability to that certainty. Stability to that certainty is eroding. It has eroded to very large extent, and
Okay.
so has the ability to make decisions. So this particular pursuit should enable me to take decisions
Much
and
faster. Yeah.
moving ahead at the
Mm,
right time.
mm,
There's no point in taking some decisions when the time has passed away in the
right.
outside world.
Yeah.
Second thing that I hope that this will enable me is to have insights into my own pursuit that I am doing without the intervention of a third party, without having anyone for me to reach out to them and say, "Ki, you validate my processes, you validate my thing." Internal validation, I believe, is a very important aspect.
In a
So,
way, it is making you compliant to their standards before they are
right.
audited by someone else.
It'll give me and also my client the confidence that I am on the path of not perfection. I'm so sorry. I am on the path of constant self improvement. Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever I'm doing, whatever process that I'm following, whatever my unit is doing, it is always on the path of self improvement
Right.
naturally. And third thing that I hope that this pursuit will enable me to achieve some stability. Stability is what percolates down the line to the people that are working in my industry. They are working there to have a good life. They are working there to have their dreams fulfilled, to enable a good life to their dependents, to their
Right.
families.
Yeah.
So, in a very vast way, in a very holistic way, I hope that this enables me to give them a good quality of life. It helps me to enable them to have a good quality of life.
In a way, it is uplifting the standards of everyone, including factory,
Right,
humans involved,
right.
and
This is
customers who
the
are buying
real
from.
world. This is the
Yeah.
real world difference that it should make. I am betting a lot on this.
Okay. So let me ask you this. You said compared to 2016, today the volatility has risen. Is it
Mhm.
because the competitors are adopting the new technologies much faster, or is it because just there are too many competitors now, or is it because the market size has increased and the uh, demands have changed?
Well, to answer this question, I would like to go from in the descending order of what you asked.
Hmm.
The demand has changed because life moves forward. Life moves
Yeah.
forward. Innovations keep on happening. Innovations give rise to demands. Something better comes up, something new comes up, and everybody wants to adopt that new thing. Everybody wants to adopt that better thing. So that new thing, that better thing has to be manufactured. So the
Mm.
manufacturing also innovates. So the demand to have the novel manufacturing also increases. And that's how the demand for everything goes up. When the demand goes up, the market sees potential, new entrants come in naturally. And when new entrants come in, competition rises. It has impact on the cost. It has impacts on the product that a particular industry can manufacture. It has the impact on the consumer consumption because it changes lot many things. In a way, the industry changes. From what I can see, when I joined in 2016, the industry has come a very long way. We were not manufacturing for EVs back then. We were not manufacturing for the aerospace sector back then in India. Now, all those frontiers are open.
Yeah, new
Never
segments are
New
available now.
segments are open. We never
Yeah.
thought that this particular thing, this aluminum, would be used in electric vehicles someday. 30 years back, nobody thought that aluminum would be used in automobile engines. They were
Yeah.
all cast irons. So a lot has changed. That is
Okay.
true. But it has changed because humans always are in the pursuit of innovating new things.
Yeah. So, how do you see your competitors adopting the AI and IoT in their working, norms or practices?
So from where I am, my competitors are very eager and they are always on the edge to adopt new practices because everybody wants to give the best to their clients. Everybody wants to be the best in providing the service to their clients and meeting their expectations. So I think the my competitors are not far behind.
Okay.
But there is also a certain disconnect, and this disconnect is also a gap in the
Mm.
industry. So for people like me, there has to be an enabler
Mm.
to achieve that certain set of standards.
Like a
So
consortium of all the companies together.
not a consortium, like a consultant, but a
Mm.
very specific consultant that enables us to achieve all the standards of the industry 4.0. So this year again, from 2016 to 2026, new
You think?
frontiers have come up, new
Uh,
industries have come up, new markets have come up.
in a way, you are throwing a business opportunity available in India, serving all SMEs as a Industry 4.0 consultants.
If it is supposed to happen, then yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's
right,
a
right.
very, interesting insight. It's very, happy to know. I'm very happy to know that uh, SMEs are ready to adopt Industry 4.0 because when we look at the Industry 4.0, the early
Hmm.
adopters are aerospace, automotive, space technologies, and healthcare. Now, SMEs entering the field, it changes the
Yes,
requirements
yes, yes.
completely. I mean, it
Right.
changes the way we see Industry 4.0 revolution. It is really impacting the everyone's life now.
Yes, yes. And it is also the natural course, ki, as in how the technology advances, the costs come down. When the costs come down, it becomes easy, for all the players in the industry, all the players in the market to adopt to that technology.
Right.
Eventually, down the line, it will come to better serviceability, better
Mm.
product delivery, no, deliverables. Again, yes, it is a path of improvement.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. You're in a family business. Okay.
Hmm.
When you go with this new technologies, AI and IoT, is it you always going with the new technologies or your family members coming with the new technologies? And what is the kind of resistance you face when you want to, introduce a new technology, especially from your family members or your partners at the company?
Okay, so I would like to think of it in this way that I am blessed to have a younger brother, and I'm also blessed to have family members, my mom and my dad, that they are very open to new things.
Mm.
Novelty doesn't scare them. Novelty doesn't make them rethink about their own plans. So
Mm.
what they rather think is, कि if some new thing is going to come up, how we can adopt it,
Yep.
how we can inculcate the changes in ourselves so as to adapt to the new technology, to the novel things. So for me, there hasn't been much of resistance, but differences in opinion. How this
Right.
particular how this particular thing should be adopted and implemented.
Mm.
So again, since we both of us are learning management, right? So there are processes to be followed, and those processes should be common. So the goals
Mm.
should be common, common goals,
Yeah.
common processes, common
Yeah.
practices to arrive to a decision.
Right.
So that is how I go on about it. That is how I have made sure that every decision regarding new things, every decision regarding new technology to be implemented at the factory, a set process is followed.
Mm.
It is time consuming. It delays
Right.
the decision making ability. But once a decision is made, it is fundamentally strong. It is foundationally set completely. It's not irreversible, but then there's no reconsideration of that particular decision when it happens.
Right.
So resistance, no. A difference of opinion, a lot. Yes.
Yeah. That's a healthy debate always.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So let me ask one more thing. Uh, What is the role of government in pushing Industry 4.0 adoption for the SMEs? How government policies are making way for other SMEs also to consider Industry 4.0 adoption?
Well, I believe we are way past consideration. Now it should all be implementation and reaping the benefits and continuous improvement in that implementation and adoption. I believe government has 50% of the role to play here, and 50% is the adopters. The adopters are more eager to inculcate and implement the standards.
Mhm.
And government has very rightly put in schemes, policies in place for the industry players, for the SMEs to adopt these practices, to adopt this Industry 4.0. They have published their own set of norms, rules, and regulations in adopting. And also, government, with the help of big players in the industry, they are enabling the SME sector to implement and inculcate as a 4.0, Industry 4.0 standards. So government
Mhm.
will have to play a very 50%, but very, how do I put it, an
Yeah,
important.
government can provide a platform. It's up to the players to make use of it, right?
Yes, right. But naturally, government has to also ensure that the Industry 4.0 standards are being put in place.
So,
Because
is there
uh-huh.
any kind of a deadline or roadmap published from the government, like by 2030, every SME should have Industry 4.0 implemented?
The road lines don't come directly, the roadmap directly doesn't come for Industry 4.0, but it comes from the globally accepted standards like the SDGs,
Mm,
the
okay.
Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah.
So sustainability is at the core, is at the foundation
Mm,
of the present standards, the present day standards, be it
yeah.
for manufacturing, be it for the service industry, or be it for any other market category.
Mm,
Sustainability is where we think for the future. It was not the case uh, 30, 40, 50 years back.
right.
The times were different. The world was in a
Yeah.
very different shape.
We
People
have
were
only
going
one Earth
different
to
places.
live. Yeah. Okay. I think that's where your core business recycling is
Mhm.
helping Earth to become better every day. Reduce
Yes,
the
absolutely,
reduce the
absolutely.
mining, and help reduce the emissions in a larger.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's shift a little bit towards your psychology
Mhm.
expertise. So you might have seen, a lot of companies are coming up with AI-enabled assistants, and there are also companies attempting to implement AI-based psychologists or AI-based, psychology consultation services.
Okay.
You infer out of it.
I believe it's a good thing. Industries are approaching towards the human aspect in a very novel way, the human things, the human intervention kind of thing. But like I said, AI needs to be taught, right? So there are some fundamental things that AI can't do, and I probably believe that it will never be able to do,
Hmm.
right? And that is why AI will always be a tool. It will not be a replacement, right? Like I said, the limit of AI is the limit of human beings. Yeah,
Okay.
because AI can only know as far as the humans can know.
Right.
Second
Yeah.
thing, when it comes to psychology, this particular subject, the study of this particular subject revolves largely around experiences.
Hmm.
So whether you are able to interpret your experience in a standard way or a non-standard way, an objective way or a subjective way, AI cannot generate experiences.
Hmm.
It lacks the ability, the cognitive ability that a human has.
Yeah. At least for today. Okay. Maybe I hope in the
For
next 10
always,
years
for
things will change.
always, for always. Why I say
Hmm.
this, now
Yeah.
there is a very thin line that I believe about to cross. It's a very thin line, right? So you'll have to excuse me if I am, crossing over, jumping over to that thing.
No. No.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead.
So
Yeah.
when you say that, sorry, when I say that AI cannot generate experiences, but humans can, it's by the unique insight that we have in a particular moment.
Hmm.
We can only train the AI to interpret, to
Hmm.
conclude based on the facts, but the facts are, they are like think of them as two-dimensional things, right?
Right.
Like black and white or
Yeah.
shades of gray. That is the limit that AI can go because that is the limit a human can go to teach. But to develop insights, to develop new things,
Yeah.
right? So for us, it is a unique combination of past experiences and also the development of personality that has taken place over the period of times. And personality, as theories have said
Yeah.
and have concluded, the development of personality happens over the time right from the early childhood.
Yeah.
There are
So
stages where
it's a sum
personalities,
total of all the past experiences
not just
acting
sum
at that
total,
moment.
not just sum total of past experiences, but also the new learnings that have happened in a very short span of time.
Yeah, that's
This
right.
unique
Yeah.
thing that humans can do, AI
So
can never be
what's
able to do
yeah, what stops
because,
is the creativity aspect, right?
again, the thin
Uh,
line that I'm talking comes here.
yeah. Yeah.
It is the chitta,
Mm,
it is the conscious awareness, the conscious experience that humans have. How do you train AI to interpret touch? You cannot,
yeah.
because touch is being experienced not just by your skin, it is experienced by your chitta, or man.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And the interpretation doesn't stop, just on your past experiences, but also on your new learnings
Yeah.
that you have had. maybe a moment before, maybe an hour before, maybe a year before. So it is a very unique thing. We can train AI to, using all the data points that one can come up, the best and brilliant minds, human minds that can come up with. We can train that AI that this particular touch can be interpreted in certain ways.
In a way, it
But
is complementing human intelligence or assisting
it
human
will
intelligence,
always assist.
not replace.
It cannot replace experiences because the cognitive experiences that you have is because the outside world making contact with your sensory organs.
Yeah.
Mind being a sensory aggregate, not a function of the brain. This is another
Right.
another ongoing evolutionary debate happening, that some schools of thoughts in psychology, they concluded that mind is a function of brain, like all other functions, like the function of memory, the function of
Mm,
intelligence. Mind is a
right.
function, on that lines. But my particular experience and my particular journey has taught me that mind is not a function of brain. It is a sensory aggregate, and it exists in physical space. We
Mm,
just lack the tools to measure it right now.
right.
We are
Okay.
limited by the technology of our time to measure mind in its
Mm,
absolute sense.
okay.
Like we can say that we have the ability of vision through our eyes, and we measure
Mm,
eyes. We can
mm,
see our eyes. We
yeah.
have the ability to experience touch because we have skin. We can measure, skin. But
Yeah.
just because we are limited by, you know, by the lack of tools to measure mind, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It exists.
Yeah. You're right.
Right. By that virtue, by that logic, AI will always assist. How well
Okay.
it can assist, again, is the limitation of the humans. How
Right.
well can you train your AI to assist you? But to all those people who are thinking that AI will replace them, it is never going to happen. It will never happen. So it is in our interest that we learn to make the best out of AI as a tool. A very good analogy can be farming.
Right.
Farming in the, previous ages and today's farming, there's a huge difference.
Yeah, the way farmers do is changed. Do has
Yes,
changed.
yes,
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a very good insight into the and psychology topic. I think we'll close here. Yeah.
yes. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very
Thank
much,
you so
Yogesh, for your time.
Thank you,
Uh,
Pradeep.
Thanks for
Happy
all the
Republic Day to
insights.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have a good day.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.